You think you know women? Think again. Because understanding a woman isn't about decoding her words, it's about perceiving what lies beneath them, her silence, her timing, her emotional shifts. Every woman, no matter how strong, independent, or emotionally intelligent, has subtle psychological patterns that most men overlook. Not because she's playing games, but because most men are playing checkers, while her mind is playing chess. You see, the Stoics taught us that what you don't control, you must observe. And when it comes to women, observation is power. A man with presence sees the moment before it unfolds. He watches body language, tracks micro-expressions, and listens to what isn't said, because he understands that most communication is nonverbal and most vulnerability is unspoken. Psychologists call this effective forecasting, the ability to anticipate emotional states, and women are biologically wired to do this better than men. That's why she knows when you're unsure, even before you speak. But here's the kicker. She's not waiting for you to impress her. She's waiting for you to read her, to see her without staring, to feel her without touching, to lead without pushing. And most men, they miss the signals. They confuse attention with attraction, validation with vulnerability, lust with connection. They try too hard, speak too much, and listen too little. That's why so many men get ghosted, misunderstood, or stuck in the just a friend zone, because they never learn to navigate the emotional terrain of a woman's mind. This isn't about tricks or manipulation. It's about perception, presence, precision. In this video, we're going to break down 10 psychological facts about women. You could call them weaknesses, but not in the way you think. These aren't flaws. They're emotional leverage points, natural tendencies and sensitivities that, when understood, allow you to build real connection, not surface attraction. So if you've ever been left wondering, what went wrong? Why did she pull away? Or what does she really want from a man? Watch this until the end, because these aren't pickup lines. These are timeless truths, backed by psychology, anchored in Stoic awareness, and forged through real-world experience. Let's begin. Weakness number 1, emotional forecasting. A woman doesn't just feel what's happening, she senses what's about to happen. Psychologists call this emotional foresight, a neurological skill developed through centuries of social adaptation. She feels danger before it's visible, anticipates conflict before it's spoken, and shifts her energy before you even understand why. To the unaware man, this looks like mood swings, but to the attentive man, it's strategy. You raise your voice slightly, she stiffens. You get quiet suddenly. She watches you more closely. Not because she's insecure, but because her nervous system is trained to read invisible tension. The Stoics warned us, we suffer more in imagination than in reality. Seneca. For women, this imagination isn't fantasy, it's defense. She prepares for outcomes long before they arrive. Why? Because vulnerability, for her, has a cost. So when she goes cold without reason, or becomes distant in the middle of closeness, she's not being difficult. She's scanning, asking, can I afford to feel safe with this man? This is where most men fail. They chase reassurance, react with frustration, or misinterpret her distance as disrespect. But a Stoic man doesn't panic. He watches. He listens. He reads the undercurrent, not just the surface, because he knows a woman's emotions don't always announce themselves. They leak in glances. They echo in silence. He understands that her sudden withdrawal is not rejection. It's a shield, a test, a request for safety without needing to ask for it. Your role? Not to force her open, but to become so calm, so emotionally rooted, that her guard lowers on its own. Emotional forecasting is her nature. Stillness under pressure is yours. Master that, and you stop guessing what she needs. You become what she trusts. Weakness number 2, mirror neurons. A woman's nervous system isn't just sensitive, it's responsive. Her brain is hardwired for empathy and reflection. According to neuroscience, women possess a heightened activity in the mirror neuron system, the part of the brain that allows us to emotionally mirror the state of another person. But here's the truth most men never grasp. She doesn't just understand how you feel, she embodies it. If you walk into the room anxious, scattered, and uncertain, she doesn't just observe your instability, she absorbs it. Her body tenses, her heart races, and she starts questioning your energy, even if she says nothing. You might think you're hiding your chaos, but she already feels it. This is why weak men confuse her. They think silence means safety. They think if they don't talk about their fear, it disappears. But energy doesn't lie, and her nervous system is always listening. The Stoics warned us that a man must first master himself before attempting to influence the world. No man is free who is not master of himself, the Epictetus. That includes your woman. You don't lead her by barking commands, you lead her by emotional frequency. When you show up grounded, calm but present, clear but not controlling, she breathes easier. Her body sinks to yours. Not because she's submissive, but because she trusts your internal state more than her external circumstances. You see, she's not looking for noise. She's looking for certainty. And when your presence emits peace, she finds rest in your energy, even in her chaos. That's why Stoic men dominate quietly. They don't force alignment, they radiate it. Their calm is louder than charisma. Their self-control regulates the emotional temperature of the room. So the question is not, how do I impress her? It's, can I remain unshaken while she feels everything? Because in a world of noise, the man who can hold stillness becomes the man she can't forget. Weakness number 3, psychological safety. Before a woman gives you her body, she gives you something far more sacred, her guard, but only if she feels safe enough to lower it. Not physically safe, that's the bare minimum. I'm talking about psychological safety, the invisible space where she can express without fear, break down without judgment, and reveal the parts of herself she doesn't show the world. You see, men are often tested for their strength, but women, they test for containment. Can you hold her without trying to fix her? Can you listen without reacting? Can you stand still when her emotions feel like a storm? If not, she doesn't feel safe. And when she doesn't feel safe, she withdraws. Not to punish you, but to protect herself. This is why the Stoic man has the advantage. Because he doesn't just manage her moods, he manages his own. It is not things themselves that disturb us, but our opinions about them. Epictetus, she may cry, she may overthink, she may spiral through 100 emotions in one conversation. But if your opinion of her doesn't shift, if your presence stays calm, she feels something rarer than love. She feels freedom, the freedom to unfold, without needing to perform, the freedom to be soft, without fearing judgment, the freedom to be chaotic, without fearing abandonment. This isn't something you say, it's something you embody. Because when she senses that you remain calm while she unravels, her nervous system rewires itself to you. And in that moment, you stop being just a man. You become a container, a grounding force in a world that constantly tells her to hide, shrink, or pretend. So when she pulls back, don't panic. Stay rooted. Remain present. She's not asking for perfection. She's asking for permission to be real. And if you can hold that, she'll give you what most men spend their lives begging for, her trust. Weakness number 4, sensory triggers. A woman doesn't just experience the world, she feels it. Her body is a sensory map, her memory, a living archive of scent, and sound, tone, and touch. Where a man might recall what was said, she remembers how it made her feel. This is the power of sensory imprinting. Her nervous system attaches emotion to physical detail, the faintest cologne, the weight of your hand, the cadence of your voice in a quiet room. You think it's just small talk. She's storing it, assigning meaning to every detail. Science confirms this. The female brain has a stronger olfactory bulb and heightened sensory receptors, which is why smell, tone, and atmosphere hit her deeper. But this isn't just biology, it's psychology. She remembers the feeling of safety in your embrace. She recalls the way your eyes softened when she opened up, She replays the tone you used when you said her name. You see, you're not just a man to her, you're an experience. And experiences live in the body far longer than logic does. This is where the Stoic man separates himself. He understands that subtlety is seduction. He's not loud. He's deliberate. He speaks calmly because he knows his tone shapes her nervous system. He moves slowly because presence leaves deeper fingerprints than speed. He wears scent with intention because he knows her memory clings to it. We are more often frightened than hurt, and we suffer more from imagination than from reality. Seneca. What she imagines about you will be shaped by how you make her body feel. Not just sexually, but energetically. If she associates you with tension, she'll recoil. If she associates you with calm, she'll crave you, even when you're not there. So be intentional. Your voice is a trigger. Your scent is a signature. Your silence is a message. Control these. And you don't just stay on her mind, you live in her body's memory, long after you leave the room. Weakness number 5, emotional contrast. A woman's heart doesn't beat in straight lines. It moves in rhythms, waves, peaks and valleys. She doesn't want constant comfort. She wants emotional movement. She needs contrast, not chaos, but polarity. Most men misunderstand this. They think being steady means being predictable. They offer safety without depth, presence without edge, and in doing so, they drain the relationship of tension. But attraction doesn't thrive in still water. It thrives where stillness meets charge. Women are emotional creatures, not because they're irrational, but because their psychology demands contrast to feel alive. Life is not about expecting storms to pass, but about learning to dance in the rain. A modern echo of Stoic resilience. For her, this emotional dance is not drama. It's necessary movement. She wants to feel held, but she also wants to feel chased. She wants your gentleness, but she also wants to feel your restraint. She wants to know you're safe, but that you're also dangerous to the world, a man of teeth and tenderness. This is where the Stoic man excels, because he doesn't offer emotional chaos. He offers emotional polarity. He's calm, but not flat. Available, but not always reachable. Warm, but not needy. He doesn't try to be perfect. He lets her feel the edges of his presence, the space between his silence and his intention. It's not manipulation, it's art, because the woman who feels emotional contrast in your presence feels depth. And depth is what keeps her chasing. Not just chasing you, but chasing the feeling only you can create. So don't be afraid to pull back when you're too close. Don't be afraid to challenge her when she expects comfort. Don't be afraid to introduce tension, so long as it's grounded in control. Because comfort is not what she desires most. She wants the man who can lead her through emotional storms without losing himself in them. Weakness number 6, the art of mystery. A woman doesn't fall in love with what she fully understands. She falls in love with what she wants to understand, but can't quite grasp. She is wired for curiosity, for emotional discovery, for chasing the subtle clues of your soul that you almost reveal. The moment you explain everything, overshare your past, or constantly seek validation through storytelling, you rob her of the chase. And every woman, whether she admits it or not, is drawn to the man she can't fully solve. Mystery isn't about secrecy, it's about depth withheld. It's about giving her access to your presence, but not all of your history. Stoic men know this. He who speaks much errs much. Epictetus. You don't win a woman's respect by being loud. You win it by being anchored, by speaking only what matters, by revealing only what's earned, by letting your silence become the invitation to lean in. A mysterious man is not evasive. He's intentional. He's warm, but he doesn't beg. He's open, but not exposed. He lets her discover him layer by layer, not all at once. Because true mystery is not created by hiding, it's created by depth. The kind of depth most men don't have the patience to build. And here's what makes it powerful. When a woman doesn't know everything about you, her imagination fills in the blanks. And imagination is far more potent than explanation. That's why she becomes obsessed with the man whose energy lingers, even when his words don't. So don't try to be transparent. Try to be infinite. Let her feel that your soul is an ocean, and she's only touched the surface. Because once she senses that there's more to explore, she won't stop swimming. Weakness number 7, voice and verbal cadence. You think she's listening to your words, but in truth, she's listening to your nervous system. Your tone, your rhythm, the way you speak, reveals far more than what you say. Most men rush. They speak quickly to avoid silence. They explain too much to fill space. They interrupt, not because they're rude, but because they're uncomfortable with stillness. And women feel that, not in their minds, but in their bodies. Because a woman's subconscious is tuned to vocal cadence, how your voice moves through space. A fast-talking man suggests anxiety. An erratic tone suggests instability. A loud, performative voice suggests insecurity hiding behind volume. But a stoic man speaks like a mountain, deliberate, measured, unrushed. Better to trip with the feet than with the tongue. Zeno of Citium. The stoic man is not in a hurry to be understood. He doesn't fear being misread, because he knows a calm voice creates clarity. And here's the secret. A woman feels a grounded voice in her spine, the deep, slow tone of a man who doesn't flinch, who doesn't beg to be heard, who allows space between words like a composer writing music. This is not manipulation. This is masculine composure. The slower you speak, the more she leans in. The fewer words you use, the more weight they carry. The less you try to convince her, the more she trusts what's unspoken. Because the man who commands himself commands the room. And in her emotional body, your voice becomes something she remembers, long after your mouth stops moving. So the next time you speak to a woman, don't just talk, transmit. Let your voice carry truth, not tension. Let your words feel like a safe place to land, not a storm to escape. Because when your tone becomes her refuge, your silence becomes her addiction. Weakness #8 Non-sexual intimacy. Most men believe the only way to arouse a woman is through touch. But the deepest arousal isn't physical, it's psychological. A woman doesn't crave a man who grabs her body. She craves a man who sees it, admires it, and restrains himself long enough to make her feel safe inside it. Non-sexual intimacy is one of her greatest weaknesses because it's so rare. We live in a world of shortcuts, DMs, lust, fast hands, shallow connection. So when a man enters her life who doesn't rush, who looks at her with reverence instead of hunger, who touches her mind before her waist, he creates contrast. He activates longing. He becomes unforgettable. To love only what happens, what was destined. No greater harmony. Marcus Aurelius' Stoic men know this. They don't chase her body. They hold space for her soul. And when she speaks, they listen not to reply, but to understand. Not to fix, but to witness. Not to control, but to contain. Because intimacy isn't built through sex. It's built through safety, through patience, through the way your eyes linger when she talks about her childhood, or how you hold her hand without needing more. When you master this, your presence becomes a sanctuary. And to a woman, that's more intoxicating than anything else. Because any man can turn her on, but only a rare man makes her feel seen, heard, and held, without even touching her. So slow down, hold her gaze longer. Speak less, notice more. Let her feel that your interest isn't driven by desire, but by discipline. And when she feels that, her defenses melt, her walls lower, and her heart, not just her body, starts to crave you. Because in the end, what stays with her isn't what you did. It's how you made her feel when you expected nothing. Weakness #9 Certainty of direction. A woman may test your words, challenge your emotions, and question your choices. But beneath it all, she's looking for one thing: certainty. Not just in how you feel about her, but in how you move through the world. Because when a man lacks direction, she can feel it. His mind wanders, his decisions falter, his presence becomes shaky, and her subconscious says, if he can't lead himself, how will he ever lead me? Women are naturally intuitive, and evolution taught them to follow only men who carry the signal of stability. That signal isn't loud. It's not aggressive. And it isn't barked through commands. It's felt, in your stillness, in your clarity, in the conviction behind your smallest actions. First say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. Epictetus, the Stoic man, doesn't need to dominate the room. He is the room. He doesn't seek control. He embodies control over his thoughts, habits, and path. And when a woman senses this, she softens, not out of weakness, but because your direction frees her from needing to carry her own in every moment. You see, modern women are tired of leading, tired of being the planner, the protector, the emotional container. They yearn secretly for a man with vision, not just for her but for himself. A man who doesn't hesitate to say, "This is where I'm going. You're welcome to walk beside me." That invitation, that calm certainty, it's rare, because most men are so afraid of losing her, they lose themselves first. But the man who moves with direction, who says no without guilt, who walks away without drama, who chooses discipline over attention, he becomes the mountain. And women don't chase storms, they anchor to mountains. So be the man whose life has momentum, with or without her. Because when she sees that your path is already lit, she'll feel safer walking it than questioning it. Weakness #10, emotional presence over performance. Most men try to win a woman with performance. They talk more, flex more, do more. But the truth is, a woman is not drawn to the man who performs the loudest. She is drawn to the man who is most present. Presence isn't about what you say. It's about how you occupy the moment. Do your eyes hold hers, or are you scanning the room? Do your silences feel safe, or heavy with insecurity? Do you lean in calmly, or do you rush to impress? To a woman, your presence is the language beneath the conversation. And most men, they're loud, but absent. They're but needy, active, but not aware. But a Stoic man understands. The greatest wealth is to live content with little. Marcus Aurelius. This includes emotional noise. He doesn't compete for her attention. He commands it, without effort. He's not trying to impress her. He's too focused on expressing who he is. And that calm conviction becomes magnetic. You see, presence is peace, and peace is rare. In a world of overstimulation, a man who brings quiet confidence, not silence rooted in fear, but silence rooted in strength, becomes unforgettable. Because presence is the true aphrodisiac. It's what allows her to feel safe enough to surrender. Not just her body, but her vulnerability. And here's the paradox. When you no longer feel the need to win her, that's when she starts to pursue you. Because she can sense it, that you are not empty and trying to be filled. You are full, calm, focused. A man who lives in his body, not his ego, in the present, not in performance. And to a woman, that is irresistible. So stop trying to impress her. Start becoming so still, so grounded, so deeply rooted in purpose, that your energy does what words never could. It makes her feel home. Now you know, the 10 weaknesses of every woman aren't flaws. They're openings. Gateways into her nervous system, her mind, her emotional depth. Not to be manipulated, but to be respected. Emotional forecasting, mirror neurons, safety, sensory imprinting, emotional contrast, mystery, vocal gravity, non-sexual intimacy, direction, and presence. Every one of them responds not to a loud man, but to a mastered one. So become that. Let her feel your stillness more than your words. Let her miss your energy, not your attention. Let her crave your frame, not your flattery. If you received value from this, comment below, "I choose presence." Subscribe for more timeless insights, drawn from Stoic wisdom, deep psychology, and the emotional intelligence of high-value masculinity. And remember, you don't win a woman by convincing her. You win yourself by becoming undeniable. And in that stillness, she comes to you.